Every business, at some point, reaches the limits of what it can achieve alone. The market opportunity exceeds internal capacity. A new channel requires capabilities that are costly or slow to build organically. A competitor's scale is making organic growth increasingly difficult. These are the moments that strategic alliances and high-value partnerships were built for. And the organizations that know how to build them, not just identify them, but structure, launch, and sustain them, consistently outgrow those that try to do everything independently. But here's the reality that most business development professionals encounter. Alliances are easy to announce and hard to execute. The corporate landscape is littered with partnership announcements that generated a press release and little else. The reason is almost always the same. The relationship was built on excitement about the concept rather than rigorous alignment on the structure. The first milestone is partner identification and strategic fit analysis. Not all partnerships are worth pursuing, and the selection criteria for high-value alliances are more specific than most organizations apply. A genuine strategic alliance should satisfy at least 3 of 5 criteria. First, complementary capability. The partner possesses something: technology, distribution, expertise, access that accelerates your goals, and vice versa. Second, aligned incentive structure. Both parties benefit materially from the alliance's success, and the benefit is roughly proportional to contribution. Partnerships where one party extracts disproportionate value eventually collapse. Third, compatible culture. Organizations with fundamentally different values, decision-making styles, and risk tolerances will struggle to sustain collaboration through the inevitable frictions of partnership. Fourth, non-competitive positioning. The best partnerships are built between organizations that serve the same market from adjacent rather than competing positions. Fifth, scalability. The partnership should have growth potential proportional to the investment it requires. The second milestone is partnership structuring, the design work that converts interest in collaboration into a functional operating model. 3 elements of structure determine whether partnerships succeed. First, a clear value exchange. Both parties should be able to articulate precisely what they contribute and what they receive, at the level of specificity needed to evaluate return on investment. Vague agreements about mutual benefit are partnership agreements designed to disappoint. Second, defined governance. Who makes decisions within the partnership, how disputes are resolved, and what the escalation path is when the day-to-day contacts cannot agree. Third, success metrics. What specific, measurable outcomes constitute partnership success, reviewed on what cadence and by whom? Partnerships without metrics have no mechanism for improvement and no basis for accountability. The legal structure, MOU, joint venture, formal partnership agreement, follows the strategic and operational design, not the other way around. The third milestone is the launch and management discipline that turns a signed agreement into a productive relationship. Partnerships fail most commonly not at the negotiation stage, but in the first 90 days of operation, when the energy of agreement meets the friction of execution. 3 practices characterize successful partnership launches. First, a dedicated relationship owner on both sides with the authority and mandate to make operational decisions. Partnerships that rely on senior executives who are too busy to attend working sessions die slowly. Second, early wins deliberately engineered. The first project or initiative undertaken together should be selected for the likelihood of rapid, visible success, not for its strategic magnitude. Early wins build the relational trust that enables later, more complex collaboration. Third, a structured communication cadence. Regular joint reviews of progress, open discussion of obstacles, and shared visibility into what each party is delivering. Here is the trap. Businesses routinely approach potential alliance partners with a fully formed partnership proposal before they have established the relationship required for the other party to say yes to it. Partnership conversations that begin with, "Here is what we want to do together," typically fail. The ones that succeed begin with genuine curiosity. What are your biggest growth challenges right now? What markets are you trying to reach that you currently cannot? When the proposal emerges from a conversation about the partner's genuine strategic priorities, it lands in an entirely different context than when it arrives as a prepackaged pitch. Strategic alliances, built and managed with discipline, deliver what pure organic growth cannot: speed, scale, and access. The organizations that master alliance strategy add a dimension of competitive capability that their single-entity competitors simply cannot replicate. Your go-to: identify one organization in an adjacent or complementary market that serves a similar customer profile to yours. Research their growth challenges. Then initiate contact not with a partnership proposal, but with a single question. I have been following your work and would love to learn more about where you are trying to go in the next 12 months. That conversation is where the alliance starts. If partnership building is part of your growth strategy, the video on strategic marketing planning in this series gives you the broader framework within which alliances create the most leverage. That is your next step. The failure rate of strategic alliances is frequently cited as high. Estimates from various business schools and consulting firms range from 40 to 70% of alliances failing to meet their stated objectives. Understanding why alliances fail is as strategically important as understanding how they succeed, because the failure modes are predictable and preventable. 3 causes account for the majority of alliance failures. First, misaligned expectations. Partners enter the alliance with different mental models of what the partnership will deliver, on what timeline, and at what investment level. This misalignment is often invisible during the negotiation phase because both parties are focused on the opportunity rather than the operational specifics. Making expectations explicit, specific, written, and mutually verified before the alliance launches is the primary prevention strategy. Second, lack of executive sponsorship over time. Many alliances are launched with senior-level energy and then handed to working-level managers whose organizations have higher priority demands. Alliances that lose executive attention lose organizational priority, and lose organizational priority lose resources, and lose resources fail. Executive sponsorship must be sustained, not just initiated. Third, cultural incompatibility that was not adequately diagnosed in the formation stage. Organizations with fundamentally different decision-making speeds, risk tolerances, or internal communication norms experience friction at every operational touchpoint. The partnership that seemed straightforward in the negotiating room becomes laborious in execution, because every joint decision requires a different process than either organization uses internally. The alliance that survives and thrives treats the relationship as a living organizational entity with its own governance, its own culture, and its own development trajectory, rather than as a contract that 2 separate organizations happen to be executing in the same direction. This means investing in the relationship actively: regular joint reviews, shared team building, rotation of staff between organizations where appropriate, and the cultural translation work that allows each organization to understand why the other operates as it does. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, hit like and subscribe to our channel for more practical insights. And if you're ready to go further, check out the next video on your screen.